Hey everybody, this is a short video to talk about comma usage before you do your Unit 2.1 grammar assignment. So, first of all, when using transition words, we have already dabbled in this with your last writing assignment. You are working on using transition words in your paragraph that you constructed. But one of the important places that you are going to use commas is after a transition word or after a transitional phrase. And the reason why you're doing that is because a transition word is introducing a new sentence. It's not part of the main sentence, the subject, the verb, the complete thought, the predicate. It's an extra additive. And because you're adding it on to that sentence, you use a comma to help separate between the addition and the main part of the sentence. And so if you look here, we've got first, comma, we arrived at the movies. And here you can see it. The main sentence is we arrived at the movies. Let me see if I can get that underlined. Our transition word is first. And because that's getting added to the sentence, is there to help you out as a reader. You're adding the transition word first and then the comma to show the separation between it and the main sentence. You can see it again in the next one. Then, comma, we bought popcorn. We bought popcorn is your main sentence. Then is your transition word. Your comma separates the two. And you heard me talk about transitional phrases. Here's an example of that. As a result, we missed the first 30 minutes. We missed the first 30 minutes is our sentence. As a result is that phrase being used to help transition so that you know, ooh, cause and effect. Because we bought popcorn, we missed the first 30 minutes of the movie. We arrived late to the movie. Indeed, we missed the first 30 minutes. Here, we have a complex sentence going on. Complex idea, not a complex sentence, excuse me. First of all, we've got one sentence here in the beginning. We arrived late at the movie. And then we have another sentence going on. We missed the first 30 minutes. See how I'm trying to take sentences from above and put them together? Now, at its core, that's a compound sentence. But the writer wanted to use a transition word, and they wanted to use it with the second sentence. They're trying to get fancy. And so here you can see the transition word is indeed, but we've got some funky punctuation going on. So let's look at what that is. First of all, compound sentence, we're combining it together. Instead of using a comma, fanboy, for and nor, but or yet so, we are using a semicolon. Let me grab a pencil. So here we've got a semicolon. This is letting you know, hey, look, we're creating a compound sentence. And we did. We have two sentences together. We're using a semicolon instead of a comma, fanboy. But we also wanted that transition word. And we know transition words need to be separated from their sentence with a comma because they're an additive. They're an extra piece. And so we have this sentence, we arrived late at the movie, semicolon. Indeed, comma, we missed the first 30 minutes. Let's look at it one more time. The next sentence does the same thing. We left early to go to the movie, semicolon. However, comma, we still missed the first 30 minutes. Again, we have got our sentence. We have got our other sentence. We are combining that together with our semicolon to make a compound sentence. But we're getting fancy and we're going to use a semicolon. Nope, we're going to use a transition word and a comma to introduce that second independent clause. All right, now that I've made that clear as mud, let's look at a couple of examples. First, the sailors prepared the ship to sail. I hope that as you look at this, you can see that we have our sentence, we have our transition word, and so you know that we need to be taking our comma and placing it in between the two. So in order to correct it, it should read first, comma, the sailors prepared the ship to sail. Let's look at number 4. Let's do number 4 together, and then I'll let you pause and go back and do 2, 3, 5. So we have Sarah's house is beautiful. Likewise, it is well bred. Nope, I can't read. Sarah's horse is beautiful. Likewise, it is well bred. That makes more sense. So we've got one sentence, Sarah's horse is beautiful. And we have a second sentence, it is well bred. We've got that transition word in the middle where we're combining two sentences. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create a semicolon to show that we are making a compound sentence. And then, because our transition word is an additive to the second sentence, we're going to put a comma right after it. Sarah's horse is beautiful, semicolon. Likewise, comma, it is well bred. Go ahead and press pause. Work on questions 2, 3, 5. Make sure you feel comfortable with using commas with transition words. All right, here's your answers. You can go ahead and press pause and double check what you created. And let's talk about commas with quotes, because as you're working in Unit 2, you're going to start using some quotes in your writing, and I want to make sure you feel comfortable punctuating those correctly. So commas always go inside quotation marks when the comma follows the text in a quotation mark. And what that means is right here, you see how we have the word mother, and then we have comma, and then we have the quotation mark. Some people will try to do quotation mark, space, comma, space, then the next word, and you're just kind of stretching it out, and it looks a little funky on the page. You're always going to tuck that comma in right beside the word that it's following. And you can see here with Elizabeth, see how we've got the H, then the comma, then a space. And commas go outside the quotation mark when it does not follow any quoted text. This is a very, very rare case because this period is going with the statement, she'll understand, we're done, the period gets tucked in. If it was part of a bigger thing, like a bigger question, then we would put that end mark at the end behind the quotation mark. But again, very rare, not used very often. So let's look at some examples. You are looking in the wrong direction, said the detective. We need to have a comma separating the quote from the rest of the sentence. And so we're going to tuck it right here after the N and before the quotation mark. And please excuse me for not being able to use the mouse correctly. But if you were typing, it would be T-I-O-N, comma, quotation mark, space bar. And then let's look at number 2, and then I'll kind of be quiet, let you pause, and work through 3, 4, 5. If you want to go outside, said Miss Clark, you must wear your raincoat. You are going to use that comma to help separate the transition between dialogue or a quote and the rest of the sentence. So you're going to have a comma here after E before the quotation mark, and you're going to have a comma here after K before the space. And for your eye as a reader, it lets you see, all right, I've got a quote, I'm transitioning to another part of the sentence, I've got a transition from the sentence back into another quote. That's why you're putting those commas there. Go ahead and press pause, work through 3, 4, 5, and then let's check your answers. All right, here are your answers. Go ahead and press pause so you can make sure that they are where you thought they would be. And let's talk about appositive phrases. Appositive phrases is any word or phrase that is identifying a noun or giving it additional information. So anytime you are renaming something or you're describing something a little more specifically, what you're doing is you're taking your sentence and you're interrupting it with that extra detail. That's an appositive phrase. And so as you're interrupting the sentence to give your extra information, you're going to surround it in commas. And the commas let you see that that could get snatched out of the sentence. The sentence will still stand and be correct. It's extra, it's not necessary. So in order for you to kind of see what that looks like, let's look at this first sentence. She played hopscotch, her favorite playground game, every day. When you look at this, the main sentence, what someone is trying to really tell you is that she played hopscotch every day. See how that's your sentence? That's your main idea. Her favorite game is extra detail. It's almost like gossip. You don't need to know it, but it makes it a little more interesting. And when you look at what is her favorite game? Well, it's hopscotch. Right? It's renaming it. Today, she played her favorite game. Today, she played hopscotch. But there's something special that happens in that sentence when you tell people she played hopscotch, her favorite playground game, every day. And so appositive phrases let you take a sentence that is correct, add extra detail so your reader understands your message a little more clearly. And you're separating it by commas. So my teacher, comma, Miss Oglesby, comma, is helping me understand appositive phrases. Your main sentence is my teacher is helping me understand appositive phrases. Your positive phrase, the extra information surrounded by commas, renaming something, is Miss Oglesby. And in your head, you can almost go, my teacher, who? Miss Oglesby. Oh, is helping me understand appositive phrases. See how that's extra information? It helps make what you need to understand a little easier. And so it's interrupting the sentence. It's being surrounded by commas. Here's some examples. The engaged couple, who? Fred and Sarah. Oh, got married in San Diego. In order to put commas around your positive phrase, you'll put one and one after Sarah. And to double check, see if everything else makes a sentence. The engaged couple got married in San Diego. That's our sentence. Who is that engaged couple? How do we rename them? Fred and Sarah. That's a positive phrase. Go ahead, press pause, work through 2 through 5, and then let's check your answers. All right, here you go. You can go ahead and check your answers, see how it works out. And then remember, you can always reach out to me if you've got questions, if this is starting to get a little weird and confusing. All right, parenthetical expressions, I think is the last thing I need to talk about before I let you go. So parenthetical expressions is extra information being given to a sentence that's already complete. If you remove that parenthetical expression, that parenthetical phrase, just like in a positive phrase, the sentence still functions and is perfectly fine. You just miss that extra detail. And so you can sometimes see it working almost like a transition word. Well, you could at least try to have fun. Your main sentence is clearly, you could at least try to have fun. Well is that extra information, that parenthetical expression that is being added to the sentence. And the cool thing about parenthetical expressions is they can move around the sentence. You could say, you could, well, at least try to have fun. You could at least try to have fun, well. And so although there may be one that we choose to use more than the other, parenthetical expressions can jump around that sentence. There are more than 800,000 known species of insects living in the world, in case you didn't know. And so here, our main sentence is in the beginning. Our parenthetical expression, separated by a comma, comes at the end. But again, it could travel around that sentence. In case you didn't know, comma, there are more than 800,000 known species of insects living in the world. There are more than 800,000 known species, comma, in case you didn't know, comma, of insects living in the world. There's your parenthetical expression. The shooting victim, his eyes rolled completely back into his head, was clearly dead. Whew, that's a gruesome sentence. But our main sentence, the shooting victim was clearly dead. His eyes rolled completely back into his head. There's that extra information. Some of us don't need to know it. Interrupting that sentence and surrounded by commas. You can move it to the front, you can move it to the back, or you can keep it there right in the middle. So here, we've got a couple that you can try to fix. Before we found her, Maria had already sent us a text telling us she didn't need our help. When you look at it, you got to try to figure out what's the main sentence. And so we have Maria had already sent us a text telling us she did need our help. Here's your main sentence. Our expression, what needs to be separated with a comma, comes before. And again, we can have it float around that sentence if we want to. Go ahead and press pause, work through 2 through 5, and then you can check your answers. All right, so here are the answers to parenthetical expressions. We have gone over comma usage and we started with transition words. We moved into appositive phrases. We have talked about the parenthetical expression. And we also discussed quotes and how to use it within quotes. Reach out to me through email or my office number if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing what you create with your grammar assignment.